Alright, let's look at this cabinet. This is a photo finish, which means it's just a painted on fake wood grain. It's not in too bad a shape. Yeah, there's some scratches, but the main problem is this paint. Looks to me like it's just white paint that's splattered on it when someone painted. Didn't cover this up. So we're going to try to at least get the paint off. And we'll investigate if this front piece comes off of if we can remove this front piece so we can refinish the wood on it, because this is real wood here. First I need to get this back out of the way, because this has the little chain that keeps the back attached to the cabinet, and it's just a flat blade slot screw. So I'll get that out of the way. Well, if that front piece comes off, looks like it's going to be a major operation to do it. You have to take these metal brackets loose, and then there's some screws that are angled, I'm assuming, into that front piece. And we got some Phillips screws over here. So rather than do that, I'll just tape it up where that joint is and refinish that front piece with it on the TV. But right now, let's see if we can get some of this paint off. I think that was just latex paint, because I've cleaned from here over and it's coming off. Just using Windex. And I'm just taking a toothbrush and some Windex, cleaning out the dirt and the dust in these ventilation holes. This bottom's just fastened with Phillips screws. Take it off and get it cleaned off. The bottom looks pretty clean, but the inside needs a little attention there. This plastic piece on the bottom, that's right under the flyback transformer, so I'm assuming that's to catch any drips that might come down. And I've got a heat shield, I guess, here. I guess that's what that is. It's like just aluminum foil of some type, but that's probably to cut down on the heat coming up through the cabinet. Well, these scratches are pretty deep. You can feel them, and they're through the outer surface of this painted on finish. So I don't quite yet know what's going to work the best, but we're going to try these first. These are for touching up furniture. They're just crayons, I call them, but they're different colors. There's some lighter colors there, which we probably won't need. Let me give these a shot. I've used this dark one more than any of them. You see it's wore down where I've used it so much. So let's try it, and we're gonna try it back here on the very back side of the cabinet. And if it don't work, I can do something else here up on the front side. I did this right up through here, and not too bad. Yeah, there's still a scratch, but it kind of hides it, especially from an angle. You stand back here and look at it, you don't see it hardly at all. But I'm going to try something different on these scratches. This is some dark walnut stain. And I have this brush that comes to a point, and it's pretty pretty stiff brush, so I'm hoping I can just put a little stain on the point of that brush and then paint it down in these scratches. That might be working better than the crayon. Let's try it back here on these. Well, I think either method works. Maybe the paintbrush works a little better. I stopped right here. So this stain is working really good. And the way I'm doing this, just put just as little as I can in that scratch. We'll go ahead and do this one too. Right in here. And then I just take this paper towel, and I'm not putting any pressure on it, just wiping it off. And like I said, it doesn't disappear, but it looks a lot better than it did. And before I put the stain up, staining these joints where the front meets the top. And then in here, we'll put a little bit in here too. And I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. We've covered up most of those scratches. Good enough. Well, I finally got the front off, because when I do something to this wood trim, I didn't want to have the front in the way, get stain on it or polyurethane or whatever. And I wanted to clean this up also. And we've got a bad spot right here. I don't know if I can get that out or not. If the finish is gone, I can't, but I'm going to try. But quite an ordeal to get this front off. You can see all the parts that I had to take loose. I didn't video doing all of that because I was just kind of taking things apart as I went to try to figure it out. So when I put this back, I'll try to video where each piece goes. And I was able to get the trim piece off by very carefully flexing bending these tabs on each side, just and gradually pulling. Didn't break the post off, so that's good. But you can see the finish is gone where that bad spot is, so not going to do any good to try to polish that. There's nothing to polish. Well, because the Tandem doesn't have the base that came with it, as you've seen in the previous video, it's just got screws with rubber feet mounted in the bottom of the cabinet, and that's okay, but I wanted to have the base on it like the Tandems had, so I'm going to attempt to build a base. There's my drawing that I made, and that's strictly from just looking online and doing some calculation on the size of it and the numbers I need. I did determine, pretty sure that I'm correct on this, that the base from the height of the base from the top to the bottom is almost exactly the same as the cabinet itself, and it's 9.5 inches, so that's what I've made this base. And you can see I've cut out 2 legs. This is just scrap material that I'm experimenting with, but I have 2 legs cut out, and they look to be in a general shape of what the originals look like. My plan is, if this suits me, I'll use some pocket screws in this center section going into each leg, and I'll need 2 of these, 2 sets of legs. Then I'll need some side pieces to go at the top between the 2 legs, and then I'll need another board by these side pieces that will be laying flat, and that board will have the hose board in it to fasten this base up to the cabinet. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to build the base out of cherry, so that's why I'm experimenting with this plywood and this cheaper lumber, just trying to get the shape of it and get me some patterns made to where I know that's going to look right before I go to cutting up that cherry. But that's looking pretty close.
We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks.